This is Create the Next from ProCFO Partners, where every week we explore strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help today's businesses put their financial picture in context.
Welcome back to Create the Next. I am Chris Bintliff, and I'm here again with Jeff Wheatley. Jeff, it's good to see you again, and you're in Philadelphia. And today we're talking a little bit about business in Philly. And what are the unique characteristics, the unique challenges, the unique opportunities that exist in Philadelphia? I know that you are a student of business there, and how can business leaders, position themselves for better success, think differently about the environments that they're in? So let's just talk a little bit about Philadelphia. How long have you been there? What do you love? What's business like?
Sure, Chris, it's good to see you again. Thanks for inviting me back. I'm not a Philly native, actually, but I've been here almost 20 years now, 18 years. And it is absolutely, I've worked in a lot of places over the years, but Philly is absolutely one of the most interesting areas, both from a business and a personal standpoint that I've ever been to. You know, the city itself, it's old, it's historic, and all that implies, right? I mean, it's very condensed, it's very dense. So then that results from being around for 250 years, where neighborhoods have grown up on top of neighborhoods and businesses get intermingled with residences. And it's a really interesting environment to live and work in, particularly if, I grew up in the Midwest, and, things out there are laid out a little bit more north and south. And that certainly isn't the case here in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is not, it's not unusual in that regard. Boston, New York, all the older Northeast cities kind of have that condensed, mature feel to them, and Philly's no different. But there's a lot of great aspects of the Philadelphia area. There's old businesses, there's new businesses, there's incubator businesses, but the unique situations that you find yourself in just because of the environment and the restrictions in that environment in some degrees make for a very interesting business proposition that I think is relatively unique among large cities across the country.
I've spent a lot of time in Chicago, which is another older city. I've spent a lot in Boston, which you make some great points about on top of. And there can be, in my perspective, a somewhat insular feeling. Generations of trust go back, several fold. This is the way we do things. That meets sometimes a tension of innovation and new and fresh. And what is that like in Philadelphia? What is that? Is there an openness to new ideas and to new talent and to new things, or is there a struggle to attract new talent because we're all kind of been here for a long time, so we're all starting to think the same thoughts?
Chris, you make a good point. The insular nature of the world is, I think, particularly prevalent here in Philadelphia. Philadelphia it's unique amongst its peers from a couple of regards relative to local businesses that sell more locally than nationally. A much higher percentage of Philadelphia businesses spend the majority of their revenue dollars from local sales as opposed to national sales. And concurrent with that, a majority and a much larger share than a peer city of Philadelphia businesses sell only to end consumers rather than as part of a supply chain. So the great thing about that is it very much supports local business, local neighborhoods, local communities. But the downside of that a bit is that since you're only selling to end consumers and you sell mostly to local end consumers, that creates an insular situation where, from an investment and an opportunity standpoint, Philadelphia businesses have to fight a little bit harder because nobody knows that we're here. Right? The businesses don't get out nationally and don't sell nationally. So it's harder to get investment capital here. Therefore, it's harder to create innovation here. It's harder to expand here as a result of that. Now, the flip side of that is, everybody here knows everybody. It is a very much of a locally networked environment, which is good and bad, right? You can call on somebody to help you out as a business person and as a CFO. You can call somebody to help you out. We like to kid in Philadelphia, you have to have a guy, right? You have to have a guy for everything. And guy typically meaning a small business.
Right.
But everybody has their guy. And that's great as long as your guy, your resource, has the requisite information to service you appropriately as an individual and as a business. And that's where the rub is. Because of the fact that we're a little bit insular, getting that new outside perspective, both from a business perspective as well as from a CFO standpoint, it's harder here than I think in other cities.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I think you make such a good point, and there's anybody who's a sports fan. Philadelphia has a reputation that, as I'm hearing you speak, seems to sort of be, I don't know, microcosmic of some of the just larger things, which is a sense of pride, a sense of we take care of each other. If you're in, you're in, that kind of thing. And it can be, it sounds like, difficult to sort of break your way in, even if you seem, I don't know, capable and well-deserving. And you spoke about the value then of the network. So let's talk about that just a little bit. Obviously, part of what ProCFO Partners does is, there's a network of CFOs among this organization that are experienced in, deep wealth of insight in different industries and different verticals and different this and different that. Is that in your mind just a really sort of essential lever to pull, or to be able to pull, or to have at your fingertips for a leader who needs to start engaging differently in business but doesn't have the guy or a guy or the right guy?
It absolutely is. You have to work. If you're a CFO, if you're a fractional CFO, you have to work a little harder here to get into those local networks, because by definition, they have their group. And they're comfortable with their group. They know their group. So if you're a service provider, you do have to work harder and draw on more of your networks, cross-functional, cross-system, cross-industry, in order to make sure that you present your services in the best light possible. Now, the good side about that is that once you do kind of break through that barrier, the networks that we have are really supportive. The referral rate for businesses in Philadelphia is greater than any place I've ever been. Once you get in and start doing a good job, people are not afraid to tell the rest of their network, hey, you need to use Jeff, or you need to use ProCFO Partners. They do a great job. So the inertia of getting that business started is a little more difficult. But once you get it started, the rewards and the returns are very much there, because they will talk to each other and refer good candidates and good businesses on.
You shared something with me that I honestly made my eyes open a little bit. 40% of the U.S. population is within an 8-hour drive of Philadelphia. That's insane. It seems to be so positioned for all kinds of potential and all kinds of outreach. Yet as you're describing it, sometimes there seems to be, I don't know, a tension or a conflict or a struggle to make that happen. Is there a competition with such a huge, close by but epicenter as New York City, somewhere as close by as Washington, D.C., somewhere as close by as all of New England? Is that a healthy, funnel of opportunities, or is there a wall that gets hit because those places can also be insular? Or how does that 40% of the population being so accessible show up practically?
I think it's different if you're depending upon the segment of the business population or the business industry that you're talking about. For example, if you're talking about larger businesses, right, and the majority of businesses in the Philadelphia area are smaller. 75% of the businesses in our area have less than 100 employees. But those larger businesses have the preponderance of the actual employees. 15% of businesses have 60% of the employee base. So you really have to kind of segregate it into those two groups. For the larger businesses, being within this 8-hour drive of all the population of the U.S. is really an advantage. And it's very much of a competitive advantage for larger businesses, because you do have very quick and easy access to all kinds of resource centers, whether it's capital in New York, whether it's capital in Boston, whether it's intellectual capital in DC, or contacts and relationships from a governance standpoint in DC. Those things are very important here. On the other side, the smaller businesses, they really don't take advantage of all the other geographically proximate resources because of the fact that everybody has their own little insular network. So I do think it's a bit of an opportunity lost for a lot of businesses, because if we just look a little bit beyond our own 20-minute drive borders, there's a lot of opportunity here. And not to say that no business does that, but there are a lot of businesses that just don't take advantage of that I think they could. I think there's opportunities to do that if you get the right supporting structure in to help you. For example, a CFO who's really a good business partner and who can think beyond the four walls of the business, that CFO is going to help that business owner look for other opportunities to expand their business, expand their resource set outside the close geographic territory in which they serve. And that's really advantageous, and businesses can really make hay and take advantage of that if they're open to it, if they have the resources to direct them and help them get there.
And you've really made clear this advantage of, I'm thinking about a person who's experiencing in real time all the things you're sharing about running, owning, managing a business in the Philadelphia area. And to have a CFO, a Jeff Wheatley, who gets it, who knows what it's like to do business here, and who doesn't need to be taught or understand, or who doesn't come with a bunch of baggage from the West Coast or whatever, who just, there's a learning curve that can take 2 decades. I'm sure that you're familiar with this. To have that already at your sort of disposal would be, I can't even imagine how invaluable that would be. Can I put you on the spot? Give me kind of a key nugget of practical advice. If I'm one of these leaders who's 4th generation, or my small business has been doing this for 130 years or whatever, what is the one sort of piece of advice that you would give me? And then I'm the young upstart, and I'm trying to chip away over here, and I've got a cool, innovative, some kind of company that's really got my eye on changing things. But sometimes I feel like I'm hitting this sort of old school wall. What's the advice that you'd give me as a leader of that organization too? So the entrenched or older or more seasoned, and then the fresh new upstart who's got tons of potential.
Listen to your networks. Right? There are going to be people in your networks that have reached out or had exposure to new methods, new resources, new ways of doing business. Listen to them. Find a way to listen to them. Vistage groups are a great opportunity in the Philadelphia area because of this type of networking, where you've got mature businesses who just need to take that next step, and they need a conduit, a mechanism to do that. Right? But listen to those networks, and don't be afraid to call ProCFO Partners to come in and help you think about how you do that effectively. But you have to take the step in order to go out and make those contacts and those references. For the new guy, you need to hustle. There is no substitution for business industry networking opportunities. It's here. You just have to make sure you have the right contacts in order to do it. And the great thing about the Philadelphia area from a new business standpoint is that there is a lot of business incubators going on. The city of Philadelphia sponsors a lot of entrepreneurship support, and actually reaches out to local VC firms to sponsor incubator grants. So, there is money available for the right idea. You just have to have the right idea. So again, it's taking care to find the right partner, the right strategic partner, the great CFO fit who's going to help you think out of the box, because the resources are there for a new business. You have to take advantage of them.
Jeff Wheatley, in a brief but amazing masterclass on business in Philadelphia, so much to take away, and I hope that our Philadelphia audience does. And obviously, call Jeff if we've got something to explore or pick apart, because this dude knows what time it is in Philadelphia. Jeff, thanks for being so generous with your insights and advice today. I can't wait to talk again. I feel like we could dive into so much more just in the Philadelphia area. But as always, your insights on these things are so valuable. Thanks so much.
Chris, thanks very much. Glad to do it. Look forward to the next time.
Take care.
Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. Visit ProCFOPartners.com for more strategies and ideas for financial management and growth to help you put your business's financial picture in context.